Let's see if I can solve this thing. Alright, I'm the best. So I had this idea of making a puzzle game that is based on rotating hexagons. Each hexagon would have one or more entry points and one or more exit points. The goal would be to rotate the hexagons in such a way as to assemble a path from start to end. Since this would be a pixel game, I decided to make my graphics using Aseprite, or Aseprite. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's an awesome program for drawing pixel graphics. Now, I'm very bad at drawing, so don't be hard on me and don't take this as any kind of tutorial. And it goes like this. First, of course, I had to make the hexagon itself and choose some nice colors for it. Picking a color palette is an important choice, but it can be changed afterwards, which you'll probably notice. Then I decided to draw the arrows which point to the next hex on the way to the end. And of course I also need to draw something that would represent the entry point of the hex. These mark the sides of the hex that need to be pointed to in order for the path to go through this spot. And after a lot of struggle, I think it's done. And I think it looks good, but honestly I can't do any better, so it has to do. For actually making the game, I decided to go with the Godot Engine. Godot is great for 2D games and allows a lot of flexibility for writing the game logic. I've done a few simple things with it and I'm already familiar with its workflow, so I'm excited to continue learning it with this game. First things first, I set up the hexagon in Godot Editor by creating nodes for every arrow and every entry point. In that way I would be able to show and hide them at will and represent the different rotation states of the hex. I created a custom collision shape for the hex, which would enable me to detect when the player clicks on it. Then I started writing the code. Contrary to drawing, I am experienced in programming and I love doing it, so I completely forgot this is supposed to be a quick prototype, and kept on over-engineering it by adding more and more code. More is better, right? And after all that coding, this is what it looked like. These are just several hexes placed randomly on the screen, but they can be rotated and that is what's important. The next step would be to align those hexes into a grid, as if they were on a hex tile map. After all, they have to be next to each other to form a puzzle, right? I thought I had it, but after moving around the hexes I was testing with, it was clear that something was wrong. I struggled with it for a while until I remembered something I've seen some time ago. It was this great website that explained everything about hexagonal tile maps. I went through it and found the section that explained the various ways to deal with hex coordinates and how to convert them to rectangular ones. I quickly jumped back into the code and implemented what I had learned, and there it is. It now seems to work as expected. I tried a few different layouts with more and more hexes and it looks perfect, so I'm glad that's done. And I'll definitely make sure to put a link to that website in the description, as there is a lot that can be learned from it. After all that coding and testing, something started bothering me. The game's playground seems very empty, even more if I would play the game on full screen. I don't want to make puzzles with thousands of hexes, so I guess the way to fix this is to make the hexes bigger. And that's what I did. Lucky for me, this is pixel art, so it looks just as good when scaled up. I might need to look into that again in the future, but for now I'll have the size doubled. Now that I'm happy with how it looks, all that was left to do was to write the code that detects when the puzzle has been solved. Unfortunately, I didn't capture that on video, but it's basically a breadth-first search from the start to the end hex that respects the rules about the entry and exit points of the hexes. Finally, I made the simplest possible puzzle configuration, the one you already saw at the start of the video. And this is what I have for now. Of course, this needs a lot more work to actually be called a game. Like, actually challenging puzzle maps, but also more mechanics, UI, and so on and so on. But tell me what you think in the comments. Does it look any fun? Would you play something like that? I hope to make another video when I have some more to show, but for now, thanks for watching.